Guys, welcome to Burghley. We're just walking the course. We're at fence 4. The first few fences are nice and straightforward as you would expect. Fence 4, we've got a drop down to the triple brush, or we've got a hanging log down to a triple brush. The hanging log being the long route. For me, I wouldn't do the log. I was actually bricking it because I'd heard that the log on the edge of the drop was a straight route, which is exactly the sort of fence that Frosty would leave a leg at or hit quite hard. So early on I was thinking, oh my god. But if we walk closely to the drop, you can see, okay, so it's quite a big drop from up here looking at those people. It feels like we're at the edge of a mountain. This actually rides really well. She's jumped this fence twice now. And it's always ridden really, really well. Obviously you jump, the ground takes you away, you just have to go with the flow, slip your reins, point at the triple brush and just, hope. It's a bit of a hope for the best fence. Like I said, she's done this twice. Normally there's a little boxy type skinny fence at the bottom, and both years she's jumped it absolutely brilliantly. But this would be a sort of fence that I actually wouldn't be that worried about. Touch wood. Sorry. But she's a straight, like I said, she's very experienced, and if I had a run out here, you'd sort of I would be disappointed in Frosty anyway. If I landed in a heap, well, you haven't got a lot of time to do much about it. You've really got to go the straight route. But like I said, it would be I'd be quite disappointed. If we pan over there, we can just see that's the long route, which is the log land. Basically, that will be the sort of fence that you won't get as much speed up. If you land down here, you're gone. You're going. But if you jump that, you'll probably be able to just back them off and then pan around and take the right hand route, which is a longer route. I think you could probably actually jump this log and do a real kink and jump the left hand side, which is the actual straight route out. But it would be very much preference how you landed. But for me, I'm going to go straight route here. Okay, we're at fence 6, which is, I'm not sure what it's called, but anyway, I can't remember. Basically it's the arena, not the arena fence, but it's near where we all drink. Okay, 6A, couple of strides. I'm not going to walk it, to be honest. To up a step, one stride over brush. This has caused a hell of a lot of trouble in the past few years. I think this is actually really kind now. The brush, he's trimmed the brush much further back. There's not anywhere near as much angle on it as there has been in previous years. This is a sort of fence, like I said, in previous years has caused a lot of problems. This year I think just as soon as I walk it, I'm like, this is much kinder. Yeah, I would go straight with whatever this fence was, because with Frosty at her stage now, unless I hit a fence and tripped or stumbled or felt I needed to go long because we were put in a situation where she wasn't given her best possible chance to jump a fence, I'd go with straight routes. Okay, so we're at the trout hatchery. Quite a nice fencing, so you just get, obviously you can see the ground runs up, bit of a ramp up to it, need a bit of leg, bit of power. Then we land, we immediately run quite downhill. I had quite a scary incident at this fence a few years ago when you just ran down the hill and you jumped the goose, and Frosty hit it all A-ends off, as she does so well. But it saves herself, it was fine. So it's quite nice to run down to a softer brush. For sure it will still need jumping. But it's just sort of fence that for Frosty early on should be a bit keen and this jumping something like this will hopefully just make her go whoa, back on my shoulders a bit. I'm very pleased to see the duck's not in it, because like I said, I've been having nightmares about that as well. So curve around to the little nesty type job and we swing back round into the water again. So mainly the main problems here are, one, if you had a bad jump here, you've got to do the water straight away again next. And two, it's early on, horse pulling on some shoulders, leaving legs here, leaving legs at the nest in the water. We'll have a walk round. Okay, I don't know how much you guys can actually see how downhill this is. It doesn't walk that much downhill, but it rides really downhill. Like I said, the first year I came here on her, first year actually she tied up and didn't get round. Second year we were 16, which was great, but I came downhill to this and I was like, Jesus, like we are really running, ran us into our heads. But that was very late on the course. She was probably getting a little bit tired, which probably made her leave a leg at the goose, which is exactly where the nest is now. But like I said, hopefully this year she'll be a bit fresher. It's earlier on. I can just anchor her a bit, and that duck is very square and very upright. So yeah, like I said, down the water, down the ramp, through the water, jump that perfectly, and then swing back on yourselves. I think it's actually really clever. This is not a particularly nice fence with a gap underneath it. It was here a couple of years ago, and it was sort of a long route, and nobody really took it because it's not that nice. Because you can see the water. You know, if you had a dodgy jump through the water, they're coming downhill and they're saying, you know, I'm sure from the view you can see now, you can't actually see the water over the top of the brush. So if that was filled in, you could nearly come down, you could nearly almost get them over without them probably realising if you were strong enough, or Andrew Nicholson. But with this, there's absolutely no doubt that there's water what they're landing in. For Frosty, this actually might be a little bit better because it should get her up in the air a bit. She's terrible, you know. Her last run around Aston, she didn't give me a crap ride, but she was so blasé and barely getting the height of the fences because it was small. So something like this will just make her sit up. You've got to angle this brush in. I'm going to come quite close under this tree. One, because it will give me a really good line, and two, because she's really small. If I was on anything bigger, I'd probably get knocked off by the tree. But yeah, I'll sort of almost come on this sort of line, which will give me an exact line to where we're going. So again, for her, it makes it like a grid. She's very, very good. If she can see what she's got to jump, she jumps it, touch wood. Hate saying that. But you know, she's been very good in the past. If it's in front of her, she's like, ping, 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 go mum. So for her, you know, for this, coming on quite a difficult line like this, actually shouldn't be a problem because it's all there for her to see. So yeah, jump in, straight. You know, straight up the step, bounce over the brush. Again, she's done this a couple of years, absolutely always fine. The long route is right round to the right hand side, which we'll go and have a look at it, which is a log in, up the step. You can turn the circle after the step because it's 9A and the brush is 10, so it's 9AB the step. So as long as you jump that on a straight line, you're fine. So if I was to get a dodgy jump in over this, you'd just pull like hell left, do a circle and then jump the brush. This is a famous fence at fence 14 that when Piggy did the Coursewalk in Horse and Hound, she said it was absolutely massive. Apparently Mark Phillips said it was the biggest dimensions that's allowed, and I would agree with him. It's probably as tall as Frosty is and it's as wide as Frosty is long. So I'm just going to kick and hope for the best here because this is a very big fence to be sitting on a very small pony. Yeah.
Do you want to stand in it?
Yeah, I could jump the front rail on its own, that's fine. But then, you know, I can only just touch either side, which, you know, as you can see, I can only just touch either side, which is quite scary really. But, you know, look, all jokes aside, seriously, this is a bloody big fence. But it's just a sort of fence that you absolutely need to be committed to. Okay, so we've got a ditch on the landing side as well, so you can't just ride it like a little ray, you've got to really get out. So I would imagine this will walk quite long. You know, but seeing as what a big jump you'll get over this because of the ditch in front and behind, it actually should ride nicely. Really nice too, nice forward too. You've got to trust them at the corner, but again, you know, hopefully you're at 4-star, you're not going to go anywhere else apart from here. So, yeah, I'm quite happy, I think this should be fine. There was a long route over there, which is another corner, which so you could actually whip out. If you jump this, you could pull sharp left-handed and jump that if you wanted. But again, a horse of Frosty's experience, unless I've had problems to this point, I'd go straight route. Okay, so walking up to this, I was like, oh wow, that was my first reaction because I just feel there's a lot to look at with the angles and the noise, you know. So I've read that this is like quite long striding and quite positive, and you'll have to be quite positive because obviously angles make a distance longer anyway, and then to have that water just the noise, they'll be backing off looking at you going, what's that, what's that? So come on a nice straight line. Again, because this is 22 and 23 and 24, you can do circles in between each. So if I really wanted to, I could come dead straight, do a circle, come round, go to 23. But with Frosty, if all's going well, I'll go absolutely straight. So I'm not actually going to walk the striding here. I imagine it will probably be 2 very long ones. I'll walk it just out of interest's sake, but I will purely go off my feel at this. Depending on how much he's looking at the water, it's a sort of fence where you could just chip in a little stride really, really easily.